AI is, well, it's everywhere, right? It's the biggest boom we've seen in years, with billions and billions of dollars pouring in, promising to change everything. But what if it's all just a house of cards? What if it's a massive bubble just waiting to pop? Because when you look behind the hype, the reality, it's failure. We're going to dive into the data, and trust me, the numbers are telling a very, very different story. A worrying one.
Just look at this number, 95%. Let that sink in. This isn't some success metric. No, this is a failure rate. This is the kind of number that should send a cold chill down the spine of every single investor, every CEO, anyone betting big on this AI revolution.
And look, this isn't just some number we pulled out of thin air. No, this comes from a really shocking study out of MIT. It found that for every 20 AI pilot projects the companies launch, a staggering 19 of them deliver absolutely zero return. Nothing. Zilch. The hype machine is deafening, right? But the actual results, they're completely silent.
Okay, so the billion-dollar question is, why, right? How can something with so much promise be failing this spectacularly? Let's get into it. Let's break down exactly why all this hype is starting to crumble.
And here's where you can really see the massive disconnect. On one hand, you've got companies pouring somewhere between $30 and $40 billion into AI. I mean, the investment is just soaring, it's off the charts. But the other hand, the actual value they're getting back from all that spending, it's almost flat. It's nothing. They are burning through fortunes and getting next to nothing in return.
You know, the crazy part is the reasons for all this failure, they're not some complex technical mystery. They're actually pretty fundamental. You've got companies just rushing in, totally blinded by the hype, with no clear strategy at all. These expensive AI tools, they're not being woven into the business. They're being treated like these isolated little science projects over in a corner. And without any real training or a plan to manage the change, employees, they can't even use the very tools that are supposed to be revolutionizing their jobs.
So, does any of this sound familiar? Because it absolutely should. It's like we've seen this movie before. All this frantic investment, these sky-high promises, this complete lack of a real strategy, it has these chilling echoes of one of the biggest tech meltdowns in history.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. This isn't just speculation from the sidelines. You have key figures, people right at the center of the AI universe, like Sam Altman, who are starting to sound the alarm. He's openly warning that investors might be, well, a little too excited. So yeah, the comparison is being made at the very highest levels. The AI wave could be a direct sequel to the dot-com bubble.
I mean, look at this. The parallels are just, they're striking. You had overhyped tools and unmet expectations back in the dot-com days? Check. We're seeing that all over again. That IPO mania from around the year 2000, it's being mirrored in this absolute frenzy to throw money at any company that slaps AI on its pitch deck. Now, back then, the big problem was a serious lack of substance. Today, it's a critical lack of strategy.
Okay, but we have to be fair. There is one absolutely crucial difference this time around. A lot of those dot-com companies, they were built on nothing more than a flashy website and a dream. Today's AI models, they're real. The technology actually works. It has real substance. So the failure we're seeing isn't in the tech itself. The failure is in the execution. It's this fatal lack of strategy to turn these incredibly powerful tools into actual real-world value.
So what if this isn't just some bump in the road? What are the real stakes here if this whole thing bursts? The cost of a collapse like that? Well, it would be catastrophic. We're talking about a domino effect that would ripple through every single corner of the tech world.
And you can see how it would play out, right? It's a chain reaction. First, the bubble pops. Then, you get panicked investors bailing out, yanking billions of dollars from the market. After that, public trust in AI just completely erodes. And what happens then? Real genuine innovation stalls. And the final domino, the funding for all the critical R&D that pushes us forward, it just freezes solid. It could set the entire field back for years.
The fallout would be just immense. Think about it. AI adoption would slow to a crawl in every industry. The job market for the AI experts we desperately need would actually shrink. You'd have all these wasted budgets and, maybe worse, a legacy of broken trust. This wouldn't be a temporary setback. We're talking about a long-term freeze on the future of progress.
But you know, this isn't necessarily the end of the story. A bubble bursting doesn't mean the technology just vanishes. What it means is that a painful but probably necessary reset is on the horizon. So let's look at what the future could hold once all this hype finally dies down.
What we're most likely looking at is something the market calls a correction. And that's just a fancy way of saying the obsession with hype gets replaced by a ruthless focus on actual value. The big question will stop being, hey, is it AI? And start being, does this thing actually deliver a measurable return? All the tourists are going to pack their bags and leave, and the really serious builders, they'll finally have room to get to work.
So, who's going to make it through this? Who are the survivors? Well, the long-term winners are going to be the ones who do the actual hard work. They're the ones who will invest in deeply integrating AI, not just running these one-off pilots. They'll build the tough, robust data infrastructure you absolutely need to make AI work in the real world. They're going to obsess over measurable outcomes, real ROI, and most important of all, they will choose a smart strategy over reckless speed every single time.
And that brings us right back to where we started. Is this AI gold rush about to collapse? The warning signs are flashing red. The parallels to history? They're just undeniable. We know the technology is real, but we also know the strategy is failing. So maybe the real question isn't if this bubble is going to pop, but who will be left standing when it does. To make sure you stay ahead of the story and understand the forces shaping our future, make sure you subscribe for more deep dives like this one.